Okay, well, we have TNT coming back here as we are closing out this 2025 and more out of questions that have been sent to me. And also, as for myself, which I'd like to add a posterity to see what this reading will reveal and how much of it will come through for 2026. What this is about, yes. Erika Kirk, TP USA, and Charlie Kirk. What will be that outcome? So here's a summary. On September 10, 2025, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was 31 at the Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah, USA, while speaking at an outdoor campus debate planned by Turning Point USA. That's the conservative youth organization he co founded and led. Kirk was a close ally of the United States President Donald Trump and a highly influential figure in the Make America Great Again, the MAGA movement. So shortly after the debate event began, with around 3,000 people in attendance, Kirk was fatally shot in the neck with a single bullet by a gunman positioned on a roof of a building approximately 142 yards away. This information is already, you can find it, it's already on the web. So Kirk was taken to a local hospital where he was later pronounced dead. A manhunt, pardon me, I'm just setting these up as they're coming through. Can I do, right? So a manhunt for the shooter ended the following day when Tyler James Robinson, a 22-year-old from Washington, Utah, surrendered himself to the local sheriff. The prosecutors charged Robinson with aggravated murder on September 16 and announced they would seek the death penalty, alleging a politically motivated attack. Now, there were preventable flaws in how the event was coordinated and how it was secured, and these were revealed by Kirk's security director, including rooftop exposure, drone restrictions, and staffing gaps in the days before the event. Security was provided by 6 police officers and Kirk's private security personnel. Although the event was ticketed, the ticketing was not enforced. Metal detectors were not used for entry to the event, and all these issues have posed more questions, opening lots of room for conspiracy theories. Following up the court case, Robinson made his first in person court appearance on December 11th. He has yet to enter a plea. His next court appearance is scheduled for January 16, 2026, which will discuss a motion he filed to disqualify the Utah County Attorney's Office from prosecuting his case. And a preliminary hearing is scheduled to begin May 18th, 2026. His surviving widow, Erika Kirk, vowed to continue carrying her husband's ideals through Turning Point USA and was made CEO, days after following her husband's assassination. I don't know, but it seems that something happens when you mix money, politics, and power. And I will say that having been a police officer, I tend to see many things through those lenses. It may well be that all the tangible evidence of Charlie Kirk's murder may point to a specific person, and that may be cut and dry. What will remain an inquiry if there's a web tracing to some nefarious outside staging this event. So we don't know about those factors. And before I get started, we must remember that a human life was cut short, not out of natural causes, but from a public assassination that not only will remain emblazoned in many people's memories, but because it was a public venue, it was being video recorded, and this tragedy is memorialized in such a fashion. Despite what he may be to many on a national level, I pray that Charlie Kirk's soul rests in peace, and I send condolences to his family. Now, as Americans, for those that are, we must make sure that the clouds of darkness never come near us. And despite where we stand on any issue, we must protect each other's rights to freedom of speech and the right to express their views, and then go on and live their lives. That is a sacred American value. Now, having laid out the summary and the gravity of what happened, and this video is for entertainment purposes only and allows us to engage in parlor conversation as we try to make sense of this tragedy. With that said, please let's be respectful with our words. We understand the gravity. We can only pray that true justice will prevail. Welcome. I am Daisy, your hostess. Let's get into it. So, this first card that fell, we're going to use that just to, because it fell when I was just talking about Charlie. And this one, when we mentioned Tyler Robinson. But there's someone else that I'd like to throw out here, and that will be Erika and also Turning Point USA. So we can start with these, and this is the the trilogy of the one thing that mixes when things that happen when you bring money, politics, and power as it relates to the situation with Charlie Kirk. So let's take a look here as we look at this situation with Charlie. Well, the Six of Cauldrons, we see this a very beloved person, yet controversial figure, as we have the Cups in reverse. And when we see this card here, we see immediately that there's a loss. The Cups referring to loss. And so this loss is one that is felt by many. Or as you look at this person here, um, this being Charlie and this person pushing their hands away. That's a very interesting image, as many have been talking about the apparent grief of Erika Kirk, but we all grieve differently. But here it is with the Six of Cauldron showing this loss of life, beloved person, um, no longer with us. So this card will stay out here representing Charlie. Let's take a look here at the Tyler card. What came up with that? The Queen of Rods. Interesting, because this is revealing his nature, his character, and in reverse, we're seeing loss of confidence. We see here a person that might be insecure, a person that has self doubts, maybe lack of passion, low energy. And so we see some of these nature about this person. Very difficult person to deal with in the sense with these low energy attributes. So this person might have been challenged with some of the things that he wanted to do in life, and he was looking for ways to be validated, and hence the actions that he took. So now let's take a look at Erika Kirk here as represented in this card. The High Priestess, very interesting. And lots of imagery here. See the blue, like the blues from her eyes. And if you get close, it's interesting that this high priestess has blue eyes as well. Interesting. So this person here is, in a sense, a lot of feminine energy surrounded by so much bounty, so much abundance. And with this trilogy and with the moon, the poles here, the serpent, a lot of symbols that can be related to wisdom, to occult information, to, I would call, secrets. This person has access to these things, and in such a way that she's connected to different sources for this information, for these hidden secrets. And these hidden secrets can lead to different ways. You've got the dark moon, you've got the light moon. So this one is depicting Erika Kirk. And what do we say about TP USA, Turning Point USA? Oh, it looks like they're not turning in a positive direction. We have the Ace of Swords facing down. Could mean a few things, from manipulation, a portal that manipulates, manipulation, or the direction that they're going is not in the most favorable direction. Despite what the message means be on the outside, the sword is pointing south. So before we go into any deeper questions, and I do have some of your questions that I will address. I want to look at this right here, our trilogy here that usually affects situations. Money. Oh, money is showing us money. And wherever there is money, there's going to be someone trying to take that money, controlling that money, someone here trying to manage the money. But definitely, we see that where there is money, there's always someone reaching for it. That was interesting. And what about politics? Ah, the Four of Rods. Wherever there is politics, there is a struggle with foundation. Even though politics is there to try to balance things out, to try to create, stability. Wherever there's politics, there's going to be different points of view. And because of those different points of view, guess what we have? We also have sometimes imbalance. We do not have those stable foundations that we usually get when we have a stable foundation. So when there's politics, expect there to be obviously, if we were all doing well, if we all were getting along, there would be no need for politics. But obviously, where there is politics, you're also going to find imbalance or trying to, um, or the pretense that we're trying to keep balance. I'm going to use that word because, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Kind of a shame that we need this to happen for us to be harmonious. But apparently, the politics of something is obviously that, trying to keep it all together. Then the third one is power. Oh, karma. Interesting how the karma card shows up when we're talking about power. What does it mean? If that karma is not right side up. But when you have these three things at play, how does that play out when there's power? Does it play out negatively? And it's a story that continues to play itself out. Coming all together, we have a struggle for it, and it leads to what I call that cycle, the cycle that you see that just doesn't seem to stop from birth to death to birth to death, and it seems to always be at play when all these things come together. Interesting, right? Now that we have the players laid out, um, let's talk about one important question that was asked during the one of the comments that was made online by many people, and this is of course alleged, but they were saying that back. Well, this one wasn't. I think this was one in one of the headline news that back in May, Charlie Kirk said that his family gets death threats and that people want to murder them because they support a political candidate. And allegedly, according to some online accounts, he had received death threats the day prior. And but why wouldn't people close to him investigate such threats against him? I don't know. So just kind of throw one card out here. Narcissist, attractive and noble and sincere, Count Paris. And could this be that perhaps it has to do with a competition of people? Maybe there was someone else that was not being as sincere, as noble, and kind of letting things continue to play out. That's interesting. But I do remember in one of the media, one of the online things, let's just kind of put this over here with these two, with the Erika and Charlie. We'll put Tyler over here as we keep throwing cards. But apparently, we have this narcissist thing that and the other part attractive, noble, sincere. But this is in reverse. So could there be someone or others that were just insincere and they were just letting things play out? I do remember in an interview, Erica saying that they would just pray. They put it all on God, that God is guiding them and protecting them. And I get that. Another question that somebody asked in relation to the incident that happened that day was that there was no ambulance, at the event. And I have to just say, from my point of view, because I was a mayor for my city in Lake Helen, Florida, whenever there was a city-sponsored event, we have this checklist. One of those things that you need to have present is an ambulance or a fire truck for inevitable things, because things happen. Obviously, you wouldn't want to, you don't want these things to happen, but things do happen. The other thing that you have to consider is, um, why didn't TP USA have that? Maybe it's not part of their planning, and maybe after this event it will be. What a shame, right? Nonetheless, what do we look at is, um, the cost. Maybe they didn't want to spend the money uh, to, tie up, an ambulance for 4 hours, 8 hours. I don't know for how long, but lesson learned in a very bad way. So why? Why wasn't there? I don't. Okay, let's see. So that was a question y'all asked. So I'm gonna kind of throw it over here. Secret help. Oh, because it wasn't. We needed to keep secrets. Anonymous goodwill. Keeping secrets. That's interesting. So obviously, if you don't have an ambulance there, if there is a nefarious plan behind it, this helps keep the secret. I don't know. Again, this is just different lens to see this through. It'll be interesting if anything else does come up. But we're just kind of, y'all are sending some interesting questions, and of course they seem a little bit more towards what conspiracies people have, because it feels like nothing is happening, and I get that. But if they have been, if the people have been put under a gag order, you're not going to hear much, right? Um, but now some people were saying that, well, you know, that he was murdered, and it was this person is just a front that he was murdered for challenging supposed Jewish power and authority in such a way that apparently, allegedly, he did not want to play by those rules. Apparently, he was supporting an agenda, uh, but there must have been something more involved. So we're going to get into another question somebody else kind of sent in about that. So hopefully I can keep my area here nice and tight. Oh, are my cards flipping itself? Yeah. Let's go ahead and shake this up a little bit more. Okay, so as we look at that particular angle, let's see if it is what is revealed about that. Resisting. Face your heart, do not follow blindly. So it seems, according to some conversations, that maybe Charlie was resisting um, a an authority that may have been involved with such issues. Face your heart, do not follow blindly. He did not want to follow blindly, and this may be one of the reasons that he died. Maybe, maybe not, but definitely this card is showing up in that respect. Okay. So we'll stay kind of in that theme. I know that this one is even more far fetched. This is like out there for some of the questions that y'all have asked. Um, was it is I don't know how to say it, because my brain is like, what, are you serious? You're asking that question. Do you really want me to put it out here? But let me honor what you all want to hear. So um was was this a staged shooting? It's in reverse. So if we answer that question, just a yes or no, this would be a no. But we look at this: poison, harmful, destructive. So that's interesting in that respect, right? Okay. So I want to throw two more in reference to that, just to kind of clarify it a little bit more, because there were so many questions that I got that I actually had to kind of group them together. So in reference to that, is Charlie still alive? Some of you are saying, hey, he's probably out there. They're probably he's under a new name, new identity, probably a whole facial surgery. I don't know. Seeking help. Is he seeking help? Talking, conference consulting. Is he? Is he out there? I mean, when you look at that, it's a contradiction because, is it a staged shooting? No. Is he still alive? If you look at a yes or no, this would have been yes, right? I know this is out there. um, and then it says here, but he's seeking help. He's talking, conference, consulting. Interesting. And, does Charlie have a new identity? And this will kind of verify the whole, it'll kind of either null or confirm. So let's look at Okay, so it's interesting if we're going for a yes and no, does he have a new identity? No. But then when we start looking at this oath of the moon, vows of love, so could this be that there is something secret and that there is an oath between parties unknown? So that's interesting when you look at that, especially when some of you are saying, well, the grieving is very unusual. It doesn't look like it's 100%. So that's kind of, when you start looking at, well, how much stronger should it be? I mean, I know that, you and I would say, or the average person was like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Just leave me and my children alone. I need a space of 90 days, maybe 6 months, 6 months. But, there's a lot involved with money, politics, and power. There's a lot involved. So that's kind of interesting. When you follow that money, where does it take you? When you follow that money, I don't know. Let's throw another card about that. When you follow the money, where does it take you? So let's take a look at, follow the money. They say, well, follow the money. It'll tell you where it all initiates, the causes of certain things. Just follow the money and you'll learn something. So let's see. Follow the money. Manifest the new. Embrace change. Envision your desires, allowing the universe to align with your intentions. And maybe as they're following the money, it's about new things for the Turning Point USA, which is over here, this card here. And maybe this is all about this manifesting something new. And they want maybe the direction that Charlie wanted the organization to go was a certain way, but the forces that be, if there's a board, there's a lot of influence, they wanted to go in a different direction. What could that be about, right? But let's take a look at getting more clarity on, the politics. What about the politics? Real promise, release the chains of the past and dance to the rhythm of possibility. So this is what this is promising. The politics is about being released of some promise and some change from the past because it does want to go in that new direction, manifesting something new. And lastly, let's take a look at this power. Follow the power. Stand strong. With defense as your shield and strength and preservation guarding what matters most. So they're trying to protect something. Um, whether that karma is going to go positive for them or not, who's to say? Obviously, with that down, it's not going to be a very positive thing. But they're going to stand strong. It's a mighty team. That organization is pretty strong, and they're gonna stick with their guns, whatever that is. So it doesn't matter what any conspiracy people might think. They as a unit are going to stand strong, going in a new direction, looking for releasing some old promise and standing strong in whatever it is that's there. So another question that was posed was, and we'll come back now to Erika, is this question was, is Erika Kirk a pawn for a bigger player? And in that same question, we can throw another question that somebody asked. Is Erika Kirk being used? So is she a pawn? Is she being used? Well, you got the death, and you got the 13th as a yes or no question. It is upside, so she is being used. Um, and this is about closing a chapter, which we saw over here, to come up with something new. So now the question is, when they get, it's interesting because these are karma cards. The High Priestess, they found the queen that they want to play with. And now we have the Death card, the closing something from the past, which we see over here in the interesting trilogy that I have with money, politics, and power. So it's interesting how it's balancing itself out. Let me take a minute here and see if there's any other questions. I don't want to miss any other key questions. So for the most part, let's jump back to where is he? We're going back to this person here. We're going to the Tyler Robinson. And out of curiosity, is Tyler a pawn? Was Tyler a pawn? It's interesting that it says no. And, when you start looking at uh, different things, according to this, he wasn't a pawn. This was a person that we saw before here. Where was it? What they were talking about? Someone that's insecure. Uh, the queen itself. We see her, the red-headed person, twice now, upside down. Somebody lacking strength, somebody lacking initiative, somebody that needs a lot of healing. And so, according to this layout, um, no, this was he is not a pawn. He is probably a victim of current political circumstances, obviously, right? And so let me just kind of throw this out as far as two things that were asked. One has to do, what is the outcome of this case? What is the outcome of the court case with Tyler Robinson? Not good. Surrounded by the swords. Of course, at the end of the day, he's going to be surrounded in his own prison of his mind, but not a good outcome for him. And so then the final, as far as TPUSA, are they going to have any financial losses? Will there be any investigation of the company? Is there any rise to some of the alleged financial issues that have come up about the organization? But one thing I will tell you from personal experience, they've bifurcated the murder from anything that has to do with the financial standing of the organization. Those are two different things. So this is going to be the focus, and that's the result you're going to get. Some people are going to look into deeper for a conspiracy. While there may be issues financially with the organization, and things may just looks one way, and I know that people say, well, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's got to be a duck. But keep in mind that if there aren't any crumbs that lead to some outside factor, it will fall on Tyler Robinson. Now, the financial situation of the organization, that's totally different from this. And, you know, one may bleed into the other, but it depends on the investigation itself. We go back to the Empress, and they're going to hold on to this Empress. That's going to be their golden goose, Erika Kirk. All right. Well, that's what I have for you, and it'll be interesting as this case evolves. May is going to be a important date as we get into out of spring into the summer, and let's see. Let's come back to this video and see what those results are if they actually reflect. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Like, share, and subscribe.